if Sukuna and Satoru Gojo had been sealed together for 68 years? And when they finally woke up, Yuji Itadori was the strongest being to ever exist in the Jujutsu Kaisen modulo universe. Well, I'm Shoyo, and today we're finding out who would win this epic, no legendary battle. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like. It seriously helps out a ton. The timeline. First things first, this is not the timeline you know. Here, the fate of the Shinjuku battle went in a completely different and wild direction. In the original manga, Gojo dies fighting Sukuna. Here, before either one could finish the other off, Kenjaku, that absolute menace, activated a massive sealing trap. To make sure his long-term plans worked out, he locked the two biggest anomalies in the Jujutsu world into the same pocket dimension. And so, 68 years passed, bringing us to the current Jujutsu Kaisen modulo setting. In 2086, when the seal finally broke beneath Tokyo and Gojo and Sukuna woke up, they ran straight into the last person they ever expected. Yuji was still alive, ready to throw hands and giving off a terrifying energy. But why would Gojo, humanity's hero, agree to fight alongside the King of Curses? Simple, he completely lost it. Spending 68 years in the physical world, trapped inside a seal, would already be brutal. But inside, time doesn't flow normally. What was decades out here could have been centuries of non-stop, mind-breaking isolation for Gojo. His sanity collapsed. When he finally got out, he wasn't that protective sensei we knew anymore. His mind snapped to the point where he just wanted to go out there and wreck everything. But for the first and only time in history, the two strongest, bonded by a thirst for destruction, after a century of absolutely insane boredom, would have to fight side by side against a common enemy, Yuji Itadori. The Impossible Alliance, Gojo and Sukuna 2086 edition. To figure out who would actually win this fight, we need to look at how absolutely broken it is to face these two at the same time. Any other being in this universe would drop dead just from breathing the same air as them. A 6-8 year nap didn't change the fact that they're the peak of Jujutsu. Here's what this wild alliance brings to the table. Domain combo. Picture Malevolent Shrine and Unlimited Void activated at the same time. Sukuna lands surgical, simultaneous cuts that box the enemy in, while Gojo fries the target's brain with infinite information. Basically, stepping into range of both of them without a perfect defense in split seconds is a death wish. Infinity plus cleave. Gojo is untouchable thanks to Infinity, filtering out any threat. While he acts as the impenetrable defense and field control, using blue and red to warp space, Sukuna plays Executioner, using cleave to land fatal hits perfectly tuned to the target's resistance. Perfect read. 6 eyes plus Sukuna's IQ. This is the real nightmare. With the 6 eyes, Gojo processes cursed energy flow on an atomic level. Stack that with Sukuna's thousands of years of experience, where he reads your intentions before you even fire off a technique. They know exactly where the gaps and blind spots are in anything Yuji tries to pull. Incarnate body and unlimited energy. Sukuna, with his 4 arms, can brawl and weave hand signs at the same time, while Gojo, thanks to the 6 eyes, burns almost 0 energy. Both regenerate their bodies in real time with RCT. The raw attack power of this duo is the most busted thing in the verse. Before we keep going, let me ask you something real quick. If you made it this far, you're clearly as into Jujutsu Kaisen as I am. So let me ask, have you ever tried drawing Gojo, Sukuna, any character, and it just came out totally off? You know something looks wrong, but you can't figure out what. That was me until I found Anime Art Academy. You send in your drawings and get feedback from actual Japanese mangaka. They fix your drawing and show you exactly what to change. Link in the description. They've got a free trial, so you've got nothing to lose. Now back to the video. Yuji Itadori in 2086. But here's the other side, and this is where things get crazy. Yuji Itadori started out as a kid with insane physical stats and 0 technique. Nobody was betting on our boy, except Gojo himself. But the residual fusion with Sukuna changed everything. It completely stopped his aging. His body in 2086 looks exactly the same, but now he's got over 80 years of battlefield experience stacked up. While Gojo and Sukuna were sleeping in that seal, Yuji was out here fighting every single week, every single month, no breaks. Here's what his arsenal looks like now when going toe-to-toe with 2 legends. Dismantle and cleave in close combat. Yuji adapted Sukuna's techniques. Dismantle became a close-range weapon. He coats his fists in microscopic layers of cleave, shredding the space around him. The damage goes way beyond physical impact and could be the key to breaking through or getting around Gojo's infinity. Evolve piercing blood. Yuji now compresses blood at a microscopic level to create spikes, barriers, and contact traps that react at the speed of thought. Automatic RCT. Yuji doesn't even have to activate his healing anymore. It just runs on its own in real time. In 68 years of fighting, nobody's been able to deal damage fast enough to outpace it. He's gonna need that against this duo. Boogie Woogie Red Scale 24/7. Yuji hits peak speed and strength with 0 wasted movement. He can cross insane distances in fractions of a second without giving a single visual cue that he's about to move fast enough to keep up with Gojo's teleportation. Black Flash to the soul, the most important tool against these two. Yuji spent years with Sukuna's soul inside him and understands soul vibration like nobody else. This Black Flash isn't just a punch, it's a strike that bypasses physical and spatial durability. Gojo and Sukuna might be gods physically, but their souls have never taken a hit like this. Yuji's nature and the unprecedented domain. Chapter 20 of JJK Modulo revealed that Yuji is no longer human. He gives off the aura of a creature from the Culling game. This bizarre biology makes him a wild card that bypasses the 6 Eyes' readings. His domain expansion was built from scratch. It doesn't follow the old traditions. So neither Gojo nor Sukuna has any reference for how to counter or nullify it. Who has the edge? The fight broken down point by point. Let's break down what's actually going to decide this insane 1v2 and see who comes out on top in each area. Durability durability, and healing. This one's a tie with one brutal detail that makes all the difference in the long run. Gojo and Sukuna have absolutely insane durability and can basically use reverse curse technique non-stop to heal themselves. But here's the massive catch, even for these two legends. Healing mid-fight requires focus, stamina, and constantly burning cursed energy. Yuji's healing, though, completely automatic. He doesn't need to stop for even a split second to think about it. Thanks to his wild biology and the mastery he built up over decades, his body just patches itself up while he keeps attacking. In a crazy 1v2, not having to spend any mental energy healing while taking hits from both of them turns what would have been a straight up massacre into a real war of attrition, where Yuji has the infinite battery advantage. Raw attack power, this one goes to the duo without a shadow of a doubt. Guys, just stop and think about the scale of this. We're talking hollow purple combined with Malevolent Shrine. Picture space getting completely erased by a sphere of imaginary mass, while literally everything around it gets sliced to dust by non-stop invisible cuts. It's the apocalypse as a double attack, the kind of collision that wipes out entire city blocks just from the air pressure alone. The combined destructive power of these two together is completely unmatched in the entire JJK verse. If they can land their combos the way they like to, Itadori's gonna have a massive problem even getting close. Combat reading, point goes to the duo again, and it really couldn't be any other way. Just imagine Gojo's 6 eyes constantly processing data, reading cursed energy flow at an atomic level, on top of Sukuna's predatory battle analysis. Always keep this technical detail in mind. Sukuna isn't just some random curse. He was the greatest sorcerer of the Heian era, a pure strategic genius. The guy literally breathes combat and understands the core and spark of Jujutsu just by looking at his opponent. Together, they're gonna see, break down, and figure out almost everything Yuji tries to do before he even finishes the muscle contraction of the move. Unpredictability, this point goes to Yuji, no contest. He's got a never-before-seen domain expansion, applies techniques in a completely original way, and his biology itself goes completely over even the 6 Eyes' head. Sukuna and Gojo might be the biggest living encyclopedias of Jujutsu, but Yuji exists completely outside the rules they both know and have mastered. He mixes blood manipulation, his own shrine, and black flashes at a chaotic pace that breaks every logical pattern. At this level of fighting, where everyone predicts everything, this dude became a walking anomaly, and that element of surprise completely changes the game. Soul damage and bypassing defense, full point to Yuji. And pay close attention to this one. Yuji's hits land directly on the outline of the soul. That is literally the only viable way to get around Gojo's perfect infinity defense, because the soul isn't subject to the spatial barrier, and it's also what can tear through Sukuna's brutal four-armed body from the inside out. Doesn't matter how impenetrable Satoru's technique is or how dense the King of Curse's body is, their souls have zero armor. Itadori doesn't need to break through their defense, he just flat out ignores it and hits where it actually hurts. The verdict, here's the bottom line. On one side, we've got the most insane and forbidden alliance possible. Satoru, Gojo, and Ryomen Sukuna actually teaming up. They combine the most perfect spatial defense ever created with the most lethal, surgical, and massive attack in history. They've got the raw power, the absolute eyes, the ancient golden age knowledge, and the experience of two guys who have always ruled at the top. On the other side, we've got Yuji, our main character, who in this timeline survived 68 more years than both of them on the worst battlefield imaginable. He learned everything the hardest way possible, forged through absolute trauma, and became a relentless entity that can't even be called human anymore. He's so broken, so absolutely busted, that his hits just straight up ignore the normal rules of Jujutsu and obliterate the soul of anyone who makes the mistake of crossing him. So that's the chaotic 1v2 scenario. Now, I genuinely want to hear what you guys think. No fanboying. Who actually wins here? The Gojo and Sukuna alliance with the most oppressive power ever seen, or God of War Yuji with his evolved arsenal, a wild domain, and automatic healing tanking hits from both heavyweights? To be totally real with you guys, personally, I think Yuji has a real shot at taking this, even in a 1v2 against the two biggest pillars in the verse. But hey, I'm not the authority on all of this. I don't know everything, and I'm completely open to changing my mind depending on how strong the arguments you guys bring are. So let me know, do you agree with me, or do you think Gojo and Sukuna just steamroll him together without even breaking a sweat? Drop your thoughts in the comments, defend your side hard, because I'm gonna read and heart every single one of them. Oh, and by the way, we just hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel, and we're already getting real close to 6,000. I'm so hyped about the crazy direction this channel is heading, and I honestly don't have the words to thank each and every one of you. You guys are literally changing my life with this support. That's why I make it a point to stay active and always keep the conversation going with our community. And you already know the drill. Drop your what if idea for the next video in the comments. Don't forget, I'm Shoyo, and I'm out.